Hi, and welcome to this lecture on data types. In this lecture, we're going to learn about types, getting the data type, setting the data type, and common errors. Okay, let's open our script editor, which you can either do again from the window, General Editors, and opening up the script editor from our little icon in the bottom right-hand corner, or from panels, layouts, save layouts, and script editor and perspective, or by just pressing in. Okay, so all right, so types. Oh, and firstly, we need to make sure obviously our show stack trace is on and our show line errors, line numbers in errors is on. Okay, so now that you know how to interact with Python, assign variables and execute Python code, it's time to dig into the Python language. We will start by looking through different types of data that are built into Python. Okay, so here are the types and the categories that they fall into. I would check out a little bit more about data types if you would like to take your learning further on realpython.com, Python /Python data types for more information and further learning. Okay, so let's have a quick look then. So we've got text types, which we've looked into, or string types. Okay, string. Okay. Okay, this is a class type of string. We assign a variable to it or a series of text to it. Okay, these are stored as Unicodes and they're default in Python 3 and they are using UTF-8, I believe. Okay, all right, we've got numeric types and these are integers or ints, and these are whole numbers. Okay, so actually we should probably let's make this a little bit simpler. So let's type string. Comment it out because I don't want to assign anything to string, but let's make this obvious. We'll do I am a string. Terrible grammar. Okay, so these are string types. Okay, we've got int, and okay, the int is a numeric type. It's a whole number, positive or negative, without decimals, and it's of unlimited length. Okay, it can be anything you want. So this would be 1, 2, 3, like we did a minute ago. Okay. We've also got floats, another number type. Or if I can spell correctly. Okay, now these are pretty much the same, but these have a floating point number. So they have any number of decimal places, but they only have one decimal point. Okay, very similar, but obviously just gives that little bit more detail. I think most items in Python work to quite a high level decimal place, okay, which is quite useful for us. So you have to make sure that you're generally working with floats within Maya. Okay, so sequence types. So these are lists, tuples, and ranges. All right, now these are indicated in different ways. So lists and tuples are used to store multiple items in a single variable, but the range function it's a function that returns a sequence of numbers starting from 0 by default and incrementing by 1. Okay, by default anyway, you can change this, and it stops before a specified number. Okay, so a little look. So a range, for example, would just be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, an example of a tuple. Okay, if we open parentheses, it would be again dog, cat, any number of items or pets we're going to use here. Okay, and the list would be, they seem similar, but they do have different functionality, which we will again go into later. So this would be pretty much a similar way of assigning, but with square brackets for a list. Okay. So now we have mapping types as well. Let's go through these. So we have a dictionary, or a dict. So denounce by dict. Here we go. So, all right. A dictionary is a very useful item which stores values in keys and pairs. So for example, we have a key type. So we will type in the key Nick, and we will put in number 123. Let's say it's my waist, that's what it feels like at the minute. And then we will have another key, John, and we will make that 321. Okay, so we see we're separating out these keys and values in the dict, which we'll go into further in other lectures. Which again, all of these have very different uses, but they all have very specific uses and are very powerful. Okay, sets. So sets use the curly brackets. As well, but we don't assign with a colon. We are literally just assigning multiple items within the single variable, but these are unordered, and these but these represent essentially these represent unordered and unchangeable items, and they do not allow duplicate values. So that is the set. A set is used to store multiple items in a single variable. Sets are unordered, unchangeable, and do not allow duplicate values. Okay, let's have a look at Booleans. So we could have, let's have a look at up here. We go through this again. So we would be allowed multiple cats in our list, but we are not allowed multiple cats within our set. It will only return this with our list of items within a set type. Okay, we've got a Boolean type. Okay, there's true or false, essentially. True or false. Simple as that. Okay, it's the functionality. It's how pretty much everything works within a computer, and it's how pretty much all of our code will work. Okay, and then the last one we have is a none type. Okay, so a none type. It's a keyword. It's it's used to define a null value or no value at all. So none is not the same as 0, false, or an empty string. None is a data type of its own. It is a none type, as you will see up here. If we type in type, yeah, none type. Here we go. It's a different type of class than it actually looks like. So you can return none. You can even check for things being empty lists and items, but we don't need to talk about that right now. So, okay. So those are all of our types that we're going to go through in quite some detail in each lecture. But, okay, let's just talk about how we set these and how we create these. All right, so, all right, let's kick off. So with strings, we want to say string, we want to say our string item x, our object x equals I am a string. There we go. Oh, sorry, we didn't talk about getting the type, which we kind of have touched on a little bit. But if we want to get a type of any item within Python, we literally just have to type in type. But we can print it off here by doing print type, open parentheses for print, open parentheses again for type, and then put in x. And you'll see here, we will get, now this is a string type. So as we see here, string type right here. Okay. Nice, simple. Okay. This is how we do typing. Okay. So how we get the type of any data within Python. Okay. So let's have a look at numeric types. Okay. Well, again, pretty much simple assignment. Very simple. Y equals 1, 2, 3. Okay. Or Y can equal 12.3. Simple. Okay. Now, so if we type in, if we steal this again, so it's getting a bit cluttered here, isn't it? Let's, I'll try and tidy up now as I go. Let's do that. That would be nice. All right. So where were we? So we're on the float type, an integer type. Okay. All right, so we're going to see what the type of y is. Okay, we've got a float. There we go. That's what we've got. A 12 floating point number, 12.3. That's what we have assigned. That's what we were kind of expecting there. All right, so let's look at list tuples and ranges. Okay, next. All right, so as we've shown here, so here's our list of animals. Now, lists have a good few very powerful kind of methods and functionalities with them that tuples don't have, that ranges don't have. But these are all very fundamentally different, but we will talk about how much later on. Well, a little bit later on, not too far away now. Okay, so lists. So we could print again. Let's get print. Okay. So it's a class type list. Here we go. Simple. Okay, and that is our type list. We want to change this to being a tuple. Literally change the encapsulation from being square brackets to parentheses. And if we want animals to be in a range, we didn't add an argument, so type error. It expected an argument and it got no arguments. Okay, so we just now need to put in a number here. Simple. Okay, easy. So now animals equals the range between 0 and 76, which if we print out in a loop, we will be able to see, but we don't need, we will talk about that later and how that works. Class range. Okay. The dictionary type. Okay, we just talked about this, didn't we? So let's imagine this is our phone numbers. Okay, if we want to access our phone numbers, or you wanted to access my phone number from this dictionary. Oh, wait a second, I give us a little error there. Sorry, I haven't put my name correctly. There we go. We will get the, from using our key, which is Nick, we will get the value 123, which is assigned within this dictionary. Dictionaries are assigned with keys and value pairs within the curly parentheses. Oh, sorry, the curly brackets. So nice and simple way. We can change this to John and we will get John's phone number such. Here we go. Very simple. Okay, and sets, as we were talking about earlier, sets are a little bit different in that they will not allow matching, or they will not allow duplicate items. So we have assigned these 4 animals. We've got 2 cats, but when we now go back to where we go back to our set list, we will only get a list that does not have any matching items. So we can't have 2 cats unless we have this called cat 1. It won't allow it. Okay, so there you go. It's quite useful. Again, this is useful for list comprehensions, for doing lots of different kind of magical things with later, and checking different lists and what's in lists and making sure we remove items from lists. Okay, Booleans, true or false. So Booleans are not only used as within functions, as we showed earlier. So we did condition earlier. So we said essentially if 10 is lower than 20, then print hello. Okay, we did that earlier. So this is essentially saying if true, it always looks for a true statement to pass to the print. We are saying if true, then print this. So this statement is true, as we have just seen here. Okay, but this statement will use this methodology with a Boolean to say, okay, if something happens or doesn't happen. In more graphical terms, we can just say if true, print hello, but if false, don't. Okay, very simple. So it won't print anything else now. Okay, and none, as we showed earlier, none is just a none type, an empty type used to signify nothing. None does not equal 0, though, as we've said. Okay, it should not be mistaken for 0. It is different. Okay, brilliant. Well, that is basically all of the types that we're going to start going through in a lot more detail later on in this talk. But okay, we'll talk about the common areas of data types later on, essentially with each data type. But the most common errors that you'll make is mixing up their functionality and trying to use built-in methods for a tuple or for a string method on an integer, for example. The common issues, these are all common issues when we start out, and you just need to read the stack trace, the error output from the output window, and that will give you all the information you need. Some of this will be very obvious to you. Sometimes you might just need to ask for a little bit of help if you're just starting out. It doesn't matter. Feel free to ask for help. It is more than likely that everyone, that the person you were talking to has probably had that issue before or not understood something similar. We've all come from a place of learning. No one has just gone onto a computer and understood everything. We've all learned something at some point. So in this tutorial, we learn about built-in data types and functionality and the functionality that Python provides. The examples given so far all have a constant value, but in most programs, you are usually going to want to create objects that have a changing value as the program executes. Okay, let's go into the next tutorials and learn about a little bit more to do with these data types and how we change them, update them, and append them.